Scotland. The great Scottish Thistle turned out to be a major pain in the Wallabies' arsenal, but the Aussie lads are now gunning for the Irish to finish their tour on a high. But before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you know when we upload. Hey guys, welcome to Rugby Heads, powered by the Pig Athletic Club. My name is Sione, and joining me is a special guest from the Pack podcast. There was a bit of a mix-up in the scheduling this week, so I had to call in the next big dog at Pack under NEMS with the best rugby CV. He's a former Australian under-20s representative, and that's pretty much it. He peaked at 19, but hey, at least he had a peak.
Yes.
He played over 100 first grade games. I don't know if I made that up.
True story.
Played over 100 first grade games for Uncle Eddie Jones's beloved Randwick club in Sydney. He's matahipa just like Eddie, but prefers to be known as Falau Whainga'a's best friend. Please welcome Dave Vea.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Calling in the big guns. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, mate. Welcome to Rugby Heads, mate. It's a little bit different here, mate. Please, no swearing, mate. No swearing on this.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be a one-hit wonder from me. A bit like my Australian under-20s debut.
Yeah.
Ran on for 20 seconds and got knocked out, and that was it.
Welcome Rugby Heads. Quick little rundown of today's show. We start off with our top performers of the week, our opportunity to give flowers to the players who stood out for us over the weekend's play. Then we dive in around the grounds, everything Autumn Nation series. But we're going to save our team of the series selection for next week when we get the boys back on, and then I'll give a little quick top 14 updates into return back, and then we'll finish off with yesterday's hero. Close it out with our viewers' questions. Now, Dave, you want to start off with your top performer of the week?
Top performer of the week for me has to go to the maestro Finn Russell for Scotland on the weekend. His impact on the game. He kicked really well, corners. Every time Wallabies were building pressure, turnover, Finn Russell would put us 80 metres back. Any kind of pressure or momentum that we built during or throughout the whole game, Finn Russell was always there to literally kicked us out of the game, I thought. So Finn Russell for me last weekend was outstanding. The other two games didn't really count because that was just a bloodbath. The slaughterhouse in Cardiff wasn't exciting to watch.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. But good shout.
Finn Russell.
Good shout. You can definitely see the difference in tens. It's a very it's a very hard position and a very stressful position, but he makes it look like it's stress-free. So, yeah, very, very, very good shout there, mate.
Mate, the bloke's kicking the ball one way, facing the other way. I'm like, how is this bloke doing this?
Hey, mate, he doesn't force everyone to call him Lionel Messi for nothing, mate. So, good shout. My shout is to his partner in crime and my namesake, Sione Tuipulotu. Mate, it was my best part was seeing him actually. He swapped jerseys with one of the boys, so he was wearing the Wallabies jersey at the end. That was my favourite part because something we'll never see.
Could have been moment.
Yeah, but mate, he is. I normally don't like chirpy players, but I know him and Seth, him and his brother are very vocal when they play on the field. But Sione was he backed it up. He He did get hit early by Suali'i, but mate, he had the last laugh. That try, he got the job done, and congrats to Scotland.
I reckon the boys thought the whistle had gone when he scored his try. Everyone was standing around.
Yeah, doing a touch, mate. Doing a touch, ref. Yeah. But we might as well get into it. Around the ground, starting off with Wallabies versus Scotland. Your takeaways from this game from both sides?
I think for the Wallabies especially, the prep week probably wasn't an ideal prep week for them. We saw there were a lot of late withdrawals with injuries and changes to the team. I think we had 6 changes, so I think it wasn't the ideal prep week. The weather wasn't too kind to the boys. I saw something about them not being able to train throughout the week. So not an ideal prep week. I think that carried on to their game on the weekend. Still showed a lot of good glimpses of what we saw in the last fortnight against Wales and England, but on the day, Scotland was just too good, too dominant. I did think the Wallabies forward pack had it over the Scotland forward pack in terms of going into the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I was proven wrong. Scotland forwards were very dominant, both in set piece. Our scrums were still pretty good, but I think we got found out with our injuries and whatnot, just the depth of front row we had. The bench front rows probably had a hard day in the office after a couple of scrums. Once Scotland was dominant in set piece forwards, then you have a backline like Finn Russell's pulling the strings. It's really hard to contain them and got the ball. They played with a lot of width, Scotland, which I didn't expect them in the weather what the weather was like during the week. For Scotland to still be able to do that, which is actually entertaining rugby to watch. I thought that the Scottish team were dominant from the get-go on the weekend. But the Wallabies struggled probably 80% of the time and showed 20% of what they did the last fortnight. So probably the prep week, I think, dudded the boys. But hopefully we get a better prep week this week and have a better performance, one that the guys will be proud of this weekend.
Mate, we've been gatekeeping you, but you got this little analysis. This is 80-20.
Hey, this is... Yeah, because this Freeny gives me all the bloody grief when I'm talking footy at thing. Always tries to fight me with his footy knowledge. He knows nothing. No, that's a good shout. I thought the baby props, the ones that came on in the second half, like they did have a long day, but I think they showed a little bit of promise. They just got a little. My keynote was they just got to be patient at scrum time. Like they were trying to force that nudge instead of scrumming long, trying to wait for that little tete there and then shoving then. But they had some good shape, but I thought they were trying to take that step early, and that's when Scotland got over them in the scrum time. But mate, it was a hard watch as a Wallaby fan, especially after the last 2 weeks. We'll definitely miss Fraser McWright. He was on both sides of the ball. Was he injured?
I think he might have had little nigglies, and they were just sort of resting and giving other boys a chance. I know Lucan was a late one, getting elevated into the starting lineup with Williams scratching, scratching,
and he's been playing really well.
The Wallabies haven't named a team for Ireland this week.
I think that was also pretty clear on the weekend. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to Carl Dezzano from the West Harbour Rocket. But the breakdown, the Scottish team, way too much quick ball. I mean, and once you give that to Finn Russell, he's playing right on the line, and he's got quick ball like that.
Yeah, and I think Sione Tupulotu and Hugh Jones, that centre pairing, probably one of the best at the moment in world rugby. Mate, Scotland also gave us a lot of chances. Like some of their backline plays they knocked on, but we just didn't collapse off the set piece the next play. So something that we got to look at. And I thought BPA was good around the park, but I think at line-out time, him and the jumpers were a little bit off.
I mean, and that just comes down
some
to
of the calls,
week. The calls and the prep week. I mean, I can't imagine how many reps they got throughout the week, and I think Fez was a late withdrawal, so that's no excuses though. But in saying the best centre pairing, I tend to agree. One of my mates did ask how does a team defend Hugh Jones? There's one way you defend him, like the great rugby league coach said, don't pick him. Don't pick him to start with.
But one thing I want to get your, people don't know, but Dave's one of the, he's known for his shit chat on the field and his taunts and bullying the opposition on the field, trying to get away with it when the ref's not looking. But you're known for your taunts and your shit chat. There was a couple of moments in the game where Sione Tupulotu seemed like he got under the skin of a few of the Wallabies lads. In your experience, what's the best way to sort of repel that sort of chat? Because it looked like he got under us and then, it showed on the scoreboard.
You actually don't react to it. You actually don't react to it because they. To be fair, yes, everyone did react to it.
Yeah.
If someone's chirping, I mean, he's winning. He's living in your head if you're reacting to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking from experience, so hence why, in my experience, do not react to it. So
Yeah.
for the boys that they're going to literally play this on their prep week this week for Ireland. So when you got James Lowe chirping at you, just don't listen, don't react to it.
Yeah.
Just do what I normally do. Goes through one ear, goes out with one nostril.
Yeah. Yeah, too bad.
react.
Sometimes you did that when the coach was speaking, so that's where you went wrong, mate. You should have left the coach's one. Did you say through one ear and out the other nostril or something, mate? The remix 80-20. Got 80-20.
Yeah, 80-20. 20/20 vision, mate.
But yeah, I wanted to give another shout. I gave him a shout last week as well. But your schoolmate, Big Alan Alatoa, mate, he's been massive in Nella's absence the last 2 weeks. And even he was good when Nella, in that first game against England as well, earlier this season, I thought, he'd lost his powers after the injury, but he's well and truly on his way to being, Big A that he was before, yeah.
And please let's not forget the wizard, Harry Potter.
Yes.
Massive shout out on debut. I thought, he is rapid, quick for the size of that human being.
Still didn't use him enough, but mate,
yeah.
He saved the scoreline because it didn't look pretty when we didn't have any tries scored. But
that's what I mean. I think it was a really hard game for the boys to get into. Even like you said, they didn't use him as much as what they probably should, and that's probably a reflection on how the guys had played. We couldn't get any front foot ball to get the ball out to a proper set play to get him into the game. Balls that he did was from turnover and whatnot. But I thought he had a very strong debut. Obviously, that try was nothing short of being wizardry, but just his carry and his presence. He's a big human being for a winger.
Yeah.
So I think, shout out to the Wizards.
Nice. Can you stop glazing over Sydney Uni players, mate? It's not your club, mate. It's not your club. But yeah, I thought when I saw the snow early in the build up to the week, I knew it was going to be a long day at the office for the boys. My first encounter with playing in the snow, or even just when it's snowing around in the prep week. Big Tony did want a bar of it, and
Mate, think about it.
It's the worst.
To get out of bed. I struggled to get out of bed in a Sydney winter. Couldn't imagine Harry Wilson wanting to get out of bed in bloody Edinburgh.
But mate, big things coming against Ireland this weekend. But let's get into Let's get into the All Blacks. Little fiery haka there. And All Blacks social media's been getting a bit of heat for clipping up and not including the first part of the haka. But your thoughts on the game and key takeaways?
Right, the Azuris. Some may say it wasn't a very good game, just couple yellow cards, but I think that's a result of the pressure that they were under. Yeah. Obviously, the Tupolotu one was probably unlucky as on the end of repeated penalties, but I thought the game was good for what it was. The All Blacks, you can definitely tell that, mate, they're still pretty good, but you can tell that they're trying to change the way they play, a bit Razor style, the Crusader style of footy, a lot of good set piece, but the set piece is probably not as consistent as what they want it to be. But from the game on the weekend, you can see that obviously that post-World Cup, they're experiencing with a lot of different things, a lot of different players, blooding a lot of new players, because looking at that squad, there's probably a good mix there that won't be there in 27 World Cup, but they've kind of used this year to use that experience to bring in as many new players. I mean, we can't stop talking about him. Satiti has been unreal since coming in, but then you have someone like Cody Taylor, so bringing in that George Bell and Asafo Moore and ensuring that set piece consistency. Pat's Tupolotu is, no disrespect to any of them, but anyone on the wrong end of 30 probably won't be there in 27, but you can see the transition that they're trying to achieve in the next year. Well, obviously this year post-World Cup and going into next year. But they've definitely come a long way since they first started. You can definitely see a different team, a more cohesive team since that South Africa and Rugby Championships, which is good. But I thought last weekend's game, the Azuris were very competitive. They played really well. Capuzzo, he's a freak.
Yeah.
And Monty Ioane also. The back line is pretty good. But they're starting to get some depth in their forward pack, especially the two second rowers for Italy on the weekend. I thought they were really good, really physical. They were able to walk through the All Blacks attacking balls. I remember one of them that the blokes walked straight through and got the ball out, kicked a 50-22. But yeah, I thought it was a good game, entertaining game, to say the least. The Azuris threw a lot of shots at them, made a lot of mistakes, but at least they had a go.
Yeah, I think last time they met was in the Rugby World Cup when All Blacks put 90 on them, and it was good to see Italy show some mana, mate. And because the under-20s have been doing well, so it's good to see some of those boys starting to filter through.
That's where it's coming from.
And plus they got a new coaching group this year, so looks like it's gone well. They did well in the Six Nations. It'll be interesting to see how they kick on next year in the Six Nations. But mate, I'm a big fan of Minicello, Ioane, and Capuzzo, mate. Big things coming for Italy.
They were young too, they're young.
But I wanted to touch on, you were talking about the World Cup coming up and the All Blacks, and a lot of those boys probably won't be there. But one guy that Razor does want, because it's been reported that Razor is once again going over to New Zealand rugby bosses and asking for a bit of wiggle room in the overseas player rule. We all know who he's trying to get. I think he's Bill Belichick trying to get his Tom Brady, but obviously he wants to get Richie Mo'unga. Your thoughts on your thoughts? Do you think they should open it up or keep it gatekept for just players in New Zealand?
Should we pick overseas players, All Blacks? Yes, most definitely. I think you should always be able to pick the best players eligible to play for your country, regardless of where they're playing their footy. The proof is in the pudding with South Africa doing it. They pick from all over the planet. Some of those players you don't know what planet they're from. But I think one of the arguments about picking people from overseas has always been that it'll be a detriment to your local comp. We can see South Africa still has a pretty strong competition. Their teams are playing, Bulls, Lions, and all that are playing in the URC, and there's still players within their squad that are going into the Springboks. So it looks like your top tier guys can go off and earn what they're actually being valued, what their value is as a player, and then they're still a bridge to those guys that are coming through from your URC comp. So it's still like your local competition. The way South Africa's look like they've done it's still there. You bring through your next crop of talent in it, and then once you're an established player, you can go play your trade overseas or somewhere that can afford you. So it does work. Well, I think it does work, and yeah. If Razor Robertson wants to bring back his Tom Brady and Richie Mo'unga, let him do it. Give him the keys to the house, mate.
Yeah, Stephen Donald brought up a good point on what was a Sports Nation podcast where he said, because I agreed with you until I heard this from Stephen Donald, where he said the kids in New Zealand need heroes. Like if all of them are going to go overseas, then who are they going to look up to? They're fighting against NRL. Now soccer's perched up with another franchise, so they're fighting for heroes for the young kids. But I also see, maybe they do what the ghetto rule. If you played over 50 tests for the All Blacks, then you can go overseas and you're still eligible for the All Blacks. Boys are leaving money on the table by not going overseas. Like if Richie comes back, he's losing probably about a good mil.
Mate, you're only playing rugby for two days, mate. You're not going to play rugby for the rest of your life, so you got to make the most of what's on the table, mate. Just for a bit like you when you go to dinner.
Yeah, mate. Come back for more, mate. Just. But yeah, we'll get on to the Springboks, and I thought this was going to be more of a bloodbath in Wales. So I'm going to give credit to Wales for showing that there's still a little bit of fire in the belly of the Welsh. What was your thoughts on the game and key takeaways from this game?
Well, before that, I had to send a few text messages to my fellow Welsh friends around Sydney and just did a welfare check and make sure everyone's all right. I didn't get a reply till Wednesday, but yeah, everyone's all right.
Isn't it funny though? Like they all pretend like they're not rugby fans now, but really deep down inside they're just hurting. They're just hurting in secret. But yeah, it's good that you know checked on your mates, your Welsh mates.
Yeah, exactly. Flinny, mate, it's all right. He's left the country for after that. He's so embarrassed. He's packed up his.
He's going to help.
He's going to help. Yeah, so they picked a really strong team, and they were dominant from the get-go. The Welsh had their very limited chances, scored a couple of tries here and there, but they never looked in it. It was like going down to watch bloody first grade play, do a training run against first Colts. So it was. And look, and this is the unfortunate part about Welsh rugby. I mean, we know that this is a product of mismanagement for a couple of years for the Welsh Union, but this is the result of it. But one thing we've known for sure is it's never forever going to be Colts. Those Colts will grow up to be great players. So for our fellow Welsh friends, Flinny and crew, you guys will be back. But the good thing is there's a young crew there that'll learn a lot from it. And they'll go on to be better in the next couple of years. They just need to fix their depth. And look, and it's a bit. I can kind of compare the Welsh rugby now with Australian rugby has been there. Probably still getting its half foot out the door from that spot. You look at their lineup, for example, on the weekend. You look at the Springboks lineup in one end, and then you know one of. I mean, not that they're nobodies, but that's just the depth of talent that they've got, and they're managing within the Welsh Union to be able to play for the national team. I mean, gone are the days where you had your Lee Halfpennies, everyone like he was an international player. Yeah, Jamie Roberts, Sam Warburton. So Welsh rugby is probably a couple of paces behind that, but we know for sure that you're not always going to be there. Everyone's going to. You have the right people in the right places and make sure that they're back up in that. Mate, only a couple of years ago, Gatland was winning Six Nations and winning trophies for them. So they have done it. They have proven they can do it. So it's not there forever, is what I'm going to say. But nonetheless, they turned up, had a go, put the red jersey, red lion on, red dragon on, and got slaughtered. Yeah,
mate. You hit the nail on the head there. I think. Yeah, it doesn't look good for this. You know, people are saying that they just had a golden generation of talent when they had George North, they had Roberts and all those sort of players. But the players are probably still there. They probably just stopped playing rugby. I'm putting it down to the high performance, whatever systems they got there. Their talent is probably over here, backpacking in Sydney, down at Bondi. So yeah, so you got to look in the who was in the junior ranks that. You know, was a superstar and probably fell off. They're probably the ones that they need at the moment. They just didn't look after him.
That's where I went wrong. They didn't look at my under-20s highlights.
Yeah, because you got knocked out.
Because they obviously fell off. So But I've always said to my best friend, Folau, mate, rugby's too easy, mate. You got to do that. You couldn't live a day in the real world. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, look, mate, I was that scrum in the first half from the Saffers. Holy, that Wilco is it Wilco, mate? He was eating up the scrum. They had to sub the Welsh props off in the first half.
Have you seen the numbers on the size of those two blokes? They're one of them is 6'5", 140 kilos. That can't be. That is like a grade playing scrummaging against a Colt.
Yeah, mate.
It was not legal.
It wasn't fair, mate. I was like, oh, they're missing Franz Malherbe. They're gonna, who they got? They got some boys. They got some boys, mate. The Oaks bloody stepped in and got it done. So yeah, but I still want to stay positive for Wales, mate. I saw a little bit of glimmer of a bit of fire in the belly. Unfortunately, they were up against the world champs. So yeah, stay in the fight, mate. Stay in the fight, and the dogs will come out. Quick little overview of other international matches. There's only one match I wanted to go over, mate, with you. You're a fellow Tongan, mate. The fall from grace, mate. And our grace is probably, 14th position on the rankings. Tonga has fallen down to 19, probably 20 now, because Romania is at 20, and I'm sure they're going to be swapping when they update the rankings. Tonga in this calendar year have only beaten Canada. They've lost to Italy, Spain, Queensland Reds. That's a Queensland Reds C side. And then they've lost Fiji, Samoa, and then they beat Canada. It's their only win. And then on tour here, they've lost to Romania, and now they got Taufale'id by Georgia. It was 22-0 after 80 minutes, and then Tonga scored in extra time, so it made it 22-7.
Last try wins.
Mate, I was angry, mate. I had to make sure I stay off social media because I would have been Tongan Campese, mate, just calling everyone out, calling for everyone's head. Mate, it's not good. And might as well, the viewer's question, we'll put it in here, mate, because it was to do with our beloved Ikalitahi. What's going on with Tonga? Does the new coaching group need to get the sack?
Mate, are you asking my honest opinion?
Yeah, mate, honest.
My unbiased professional opinion, from a rugby pundit I am. Look, if you're in the business of high performance, those results you're gone before, mate. You're done before you get to your. How many losses? What's the record this year?
I'm pretty sure it was like 9 losses and 1 win.
9 losses, 1 win. You don't get no one in high performance. No one ever lets you get to 5 losses.
Yeah.
So you're out the door before you.
And that was. Oh, they were all but one was against. Only one of those games was tier 1. The rest were all tier 2. So they're all in our ballpark.
Yeah. So I think, in my honest opinion, this is the business of high performance. I know the Tongan Rugby Union is obviously funded by
World Rugby.
World Rugby. And if you're the World Rugby rep looking at the Tongan program, there's obviously something not right or not going well there. Because if you're looking at purely just the facts, they've actually gone backwards from where they have been, and the whole World Rugby support is to make sure that teams like Tonga, Romania are consistently getting better and improving, and not going backwards. If you're looking at that, and I'm sure there'll be a review post this spring tour, and I don't know how it works, but I'm sure the World Rugby will be asking questions of the Tongan Rugby Union, their high performance, everything top to bottom, which I'm sure they will do, and that's the only way to fix it. It's obviously always really hard for second tier country or third tier rugby nations post a World Cup year, because there's obviously the remunerations to come and play for them. It's not really an incentive to do so. There's not a big competition to do so. So looking at, and look, completely no disrespect to all the guys that were picked to go and tour with them, like absolutely good on them. Yeah. It's always an honor to play for them. But if you look at the crop of talent that we've got there, a lot of the big dogs are unavailable to go in that tour, and that's completely reasonable. You can't get Manioka on the table playing for it was rugby heads. You can't feed the family playing for Ikaretaha, you can only do that on not the odd occasion, but big World Cup years. It's a massive sacrifice to play for them, but you can see that obviously that top tier Tongan players that's in that squad not available this year. A lot of the second tier of guys that are probably available for the Tongan teams are vying for contracts in, let's say, Super Rugby or a lot of the French competitions. So those guys are under a lot of pressure or obligation to try and get that. Yeah. If you look at the French, the top 14 comp, any Tongan that's available to play for Tonga, you're halfway through your season. You're trying to, if you're running out of contract, you're not going to go off and play for Tonga. Yeah. So so there's that sort of tiers in the Tongan side and across all the Pacific. So so that group is probably unavailable also. So you kind of look at the crop of players for them. You got your top, your mid are probably not available, and that's the next best thing that's available for them that they've picked to go over to represent the country. And look, they've done their best, but unfortunately the best in the world of high performance is not necessarily acceptable. So you got to look at the coaching. It's not within the players to make these. You go into an organization, you need from chairman down to treasurer to board members in the Tongan Rugby Union, the selection panel to putting a coach in. You've got to look at all that because in hindsight, you kind of go, how did we come to this? I'm looking at this and going, if I was World Rugby, you go, all right, let's just realistically say, what were they, 15th on the world rankings?
Yeah. Well, the best will be probably around 11, 12.
Yeah, and they've gone down, let's say they're 20th now. And then you look at what's happened in between that. How did we get to 11th and how have we gotten? Because it's all there. I mean, the facts are there, and then you put a process and a review process in place and say, all right, this is what happened and this is how we got here, and then you put plans in place to say, this is how we're going to get back to where we need to be. So it'll start at rugby admin at Maufanga or probably Nuku'alofa back in Tonga. World Rugby will come down, do a review, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully we've got another 2 years to build the crop of players and talent for 27, which is probably the second tier countries always only play rugby. But have we qualified for that?
Not yet. So
there you go.
Yeah, like the team, we had a lot of the minor boys in. We still had some decent players. The only probably big dog was Ben, because he's probably the only one in France that can, they can afford to leave and
Yeah, Ben's got a bloody mortgage on the bloody Bordeaux city, mate. He's the mayor, mate. He can do whatever he wants. I just
fear that he's giving his time and he's not getting the respect in return by picking some decent crop of players. I know, like you said, some of the boys are unavailable and trying to vie for their contracts for next season. But mate, I think with the players that we had, we still should have beaten all these teams that were tier 2 like us. Maybe not Fiji or Samoa, but all these other teams. But if
you look at what you're saying there, so you're literally saying that it's the coach's problem. You got the crop there.
Yeah, mate. Well, even when they got appointed, like the whispers, not whispers, pretty sure it was confirmed. Tonga turned down a package for Mark Gerard and George Smith, Wallaby greats, both Tongans, to both coach the team, but they decided to go with their sevens, to promote their sevens coach, who's also ex-Ikaletahi player. But just looking at the record of our sevens, we lost to Morocco. We didn't do well in the Seventh Circuit. So I'm trying to see where it adds up to getting promoted to the 15th job.
Cover club panel.
Mate, yeah. But hey, we're not in those circles. Maybe the coach is doing well and it's just, one of those things. But mate,
I can't wait.
You got to get the dubs on the board, mate.
Can't wait for all the Tongans to come at me.
yeah, with your perfect English, you bloody stupid, mate. But a quick little top 14 update before we go into the Wallabies Island game. Round 10 of the top 14 kicked off over the weekend with Clermont and Bordeaux, the only two away teams to get the dubs. Clermont upsetting Lyon 30-22 and Bordeaux with an 8-point win over Vannes. My player of the week and friend of the pod, and also former Wallaby hooker Feleti Kaitu'u, scored 2 tries off the bench for Racing 92, continuing his fine form since joining the top 14 club this season. After 10 rounds, the top 6 sees Toulouse sitting pretty at number 1, followed by Bordeaux, La Rochelle, Toulon, Casse, and slipping back into the top 6,
Clermont,
Flaufanga's team. So, mate, it's good to see Clermont back in there, vying for that, championship. Could be on there.
They had their first away win last week. It was really good.
Yeah. So we could be doing another trip.
Beat Lyon away.
Might have to do another trip for finals if they make the playoffs, mate.
That's it, mate.
But we'll quickly get into Wallabies versus Islands. The only game left on the Autumn Nation Series.
Oh, is that the last one? Yeah.
I'm guessing Fraser McWright's going to be back in. I'm guessing hopefully Jeremy Williams is back in. Your thoughts and who do you think? Look, who do you think we need?
Look, it's the last game, last opportunity for the guys to make a statement before the end of the year. We should definitely pick our best team available this weekend, and hopefully we have a better prep week this week than last week over in Ireland. What do I think of the game? Look, if we can get back the form that we played against England and have a bit more defensive improvement into that game, I think we're very good chance of being very competitive. Even I think we can beat Ireland if we do that for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
In terms of players, I'm going to make a bold call here, and not that anyone cares about any bold calls I make. I think this is the perfect game to start Tane Edmed.
Yeah.
At 10. Tane's been travelling with the team. I'm sure he's been itching and training the house down. And
they wouldn't have seen. Literally, hasn't debuted for Wallabies. No one would see.
And it's something completely different. I think against Ireland, and look, no disrespect to Noah as well. He's been playing really well. But I think Tane takes on the line a lot more. He plays really square. He can ask more questions of the defensive line. And if we can get a pack that's slightly parity with dominance, I think Tane can really play off that. And just his running threat to that defensive line just kind of put them in that. Because at the moment, I think the Wallabies is a 12-13 punching team. You know, there's no threat. There's no threat from 10 to every team's just teeing off on both Len and hopefully Swally if he's good to play. Don't ever have a stinger and come off, mate. If you're listening to this, you should see all the stingers I've had, mate. Those things you just kind of shake it off and then you're back on.
I thought he might have been. I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it's glad it's not one of those bad nerve ones where. It could, like a few boys have ended their career with those ones and, you know, lost feeling in their arm for the pretty much rest of their life. So luckily, it looks like he's back and could be in.
Stinger, mate. You'll be right. So, yeah, hopefully he's playing.
Yeah.
McWright will be very important if he's available to play, just his impact. I think one of the things about him is just his ability to slow down quick ball for other teams. I mean, and he's very effective in it. If he's not slow, if he's not getting a turnover, he's at least there to be a body to be cleaned out. Yeah. And that half a second in the breakdown is massive for your defensive line to be able to get there and get set and be able to defend on the front foot rather than on the back foot. Fraser McWright be huge. And look, if we get through Bobby Valentini and Wilso at the back row, that's a pretty big. That's a good enough pack to get good go forward ball for a back line like whoever we get in there should be it. But I think that's my call this weekend. If we can, it'd be unreal if we can see a Tane Edmed run out, even starting. It'll be a completely different picture to what Ireland has probably been prepping for. But it'll be unreal to see him.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tane, and you know.
Sorry, Tane.
Tane from North Harbour, mate. Yeah, my big thing is we just need to throw shots. Like, just throw we're making mistakes. We might as well make mistakes having a shot rather than just unforced errors. And Tane's going to do that. Remember his combination with Dono, was it 2 years ago at the TARS?
Yeah,
mate, that was a deadly combination there. So, mate, big one in Tane. And also, I liked your Fraser McWright call. I think he's the best attacking 7 as well. We all know what he can do in DV, but yeah, he's one of those decent support players, and he always uses that the blind side. He's good at folding around the corner, and then Gordon's coming out and just popping. Then we got that overlap. I think we did it against England a few times as well. So yeah, it'll be good to see those two back in for Tane, our mate Tane. But yeah, bold prediction.
Is Samuel available?
Nah, he's suspended 3 weeks, mate. Unbelievable, mate. Brendan Geist better be suspended too for his hit, mate. That is, mate. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Match prediction, score prediction?
My heart says Wallabies 1-12.
Okay. I'm going to go Wallabies 1-12 as well in a bit of an upset. I'm sure this is going to be paying well. So yeah, lock in Wallabies 1-12. And then our new segment from last week, mate. We want to shout out our throwback player for the week. Players that stood out for us back in the days, and share some love. And this current generator probably don't know some of these players. So who's your throwback player, rugby throwback.
Well, this segment probably not so much against this generators. It probably shows our age, rather.
Yeah, that's all right, mate.
But my throwback player is a bloke called Lloyd Johansson.
Oh, yes. Oh, it shows that you don't listen to the pod. That was mine last year, but you carry on.
Oh, fuck, have you?
Yeah, no, carry on. Your explanation will probably be better than mine, mate. Go.
He was a Reds.
Yep.
One cap Wallaby, played in the World Cup year, I think. And the reason why I've gone with him is I haven't seen anyone like him since.
Yeah.
He was a body of a prop playing inside centre.
Literally.
But he was one of the most skillful hands I've ever seen. He rocked the gloves as well, which is pretty cool. The hair gel and the mohawk was one of the key features of Lloyd Johansson. But one of my best memories of Lloyd Johansson was the Sterling Mortlock coat hanger.
Oh yeah,
if you can recall that, it's Sterling Mortlock running a set play. I think it was off a scrum, and he's running a short ball, and the big fella's kind of been off wrong-footed, and he's just thrown on the good old hand out. It's just got him around the throat. But so that's my throwback player.
Good shout,
Lloyd
mate.
Johansson.
Mate, good. Yeah. You know, mine's think alike, mate. Yeah, he was my shout last week, and mate, one of my favourites back in the days. And yeah, there's not really players like that. Like him, Sam Tuitupou, those sort of hard-hitting linebackers in the centres. Yeah. Brian Lima. Yeah. Mate, yeah, it's a good shout. But my one, I wanted to shout out my English roses, mate. My throwback player for this week, Ben Cohen, also known as, what I used to call him, the White Jonah Lomu. He was the English winger back in the early 2000s. Back in
Rugby 08, mate.
Yep, Matt Tate years, the Johnny Wilkinson years. 57 appearances for England, but made his name for himself bullying opposition wingers in the Prem for Northampton, and then eventually finished up at Sale. But mate, he was one of my favourites in Rugby 08, mate. But I remember first seeing him. I was a big Jonah Lomu fan. Then I remember seeing him on the flanks, and I think he made a length of the field run when he was playing for Northampton. And mate, big boy. He was over 100 kegs, 6'2" frame, maybe 6'3", pushing. But mate, he was reminded me of some of the South African Universal Soldiers, but on the wing. But yeah, I was a big fan of Ben Cohen. Mate, I thought they didn't use. I thought they didn't use him enough.
Ashton. A bit like Chris Ashton.
But I reckon better. But I reckon better, mate. Yeah. My shout is the big dog, Ben Cohen.
Nice.
Okay, and then we've already gone through viewers' questions. All that's left, mate, is shout-outs. Who are you shouting out for this week, mate?
This week, shout out to the Wallabies. You know, I mean, we've been talking about it. So there's shout out to Schmidin and the boys. I hope you guys have a very strong finish to the year, your last game, and the boys enjoyed and enjoy the rest of the break. My other shout out is to our content ninja, Sione Naahelu.
Oh,
I mean,
what's going on, mate?
See, I'm not for any, mate. I'll be nice to you in this podcast. No, shout out to you. I think your content throughout the Six Nation, the Autumn series has been unreal. You do all the thankless job, the ruck arrivals that no one ever sees.
Because I never used to do it when we played, mate.
To our 4 listeners that are listening. Please make sure you don't just love the content. You say thank you to the content ninja. So that's my shout out to this weekend. And who's the last one? Yeah, I hope Tane Edmund gets a run this weekend. Yeah, that's my last shout out.
Good shout. My shout is negative shout. I'm going to call out my enemy for the week, planetrugby.com. I was going through Instagram, and then on my Explorer page, I saw a bit of a hate post for Cals, Andrew Callaway, highlighting his 7 missed tackles and then rating him at 3 out of 10. And I'm like, mate, I hate negative sort of posts, and Planet Rugby, they're a big page, well known, probably one of the best pages before Rugby Pass came onto the stage. You're my new enemy, mate, and I held back from commenting off the pack page, starting a war with him, but yeah, mate, Cals, I thought Cals did well, mate, stepping in at 13. Yeah, mate, it's got to be hard going in from wing and then going in at 13 against probably one of the best centre combo in the world, and then trying to, but he got there a few times, like old mate's counting the ones he missed, but have a look at the ones that he got, mate. He stopped a few stopped a few line breaks getting in there. But Cal's, mate, hopefully you get another chance. Everyone, Planet Rugby must forget your performance last week against Wales and the one before that against England. So stay in the fight, mate, and yeah. Sorry,
just quickly, now that you're speaking of one of the best centre pairings in the world currently being the Scottish centre pairings, I also want to make one quick shout out to one half of the best centre pairing off the field. Good old my mate Ben Starkey, very great inside centre on the field, but even better off it. Got married on the weekend, so massive shout out to Ben Starkey. It was an unreal wedding. And hopefully you're still married by Friday. So yeah.
Whoa, yeah, congrats, mate. Congrats to mate. Jack McCalman, mate. I saw he got married.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
a couple of boys got married. Big Jack McCalman over in Orange. There was a whole crew that made the trip to Orange on a Friday and made the trip back to Sydney on Saturday for Ben Starkey. So shout out, for the boys getting married.
Shout out to the boys. I remember my first marriage, but yeah. Stay in the fight, boys. Stay in the fight, boys, and Wallabies stay in the fight. And you got the dog in you. Dave, thanks for coming in, mate. Mate, you might have to do a transfer. You did well, mate.
More than welcome.
Yeah, so
I'll stay humble. Trini and I will hold down the fort over at Back Podcast. But anytime, mate. Happy to be here.
Okay, Malo Kuchi, King of Kuchi, and guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Au revoir.
Au revoir.